If you're responding to a request for proposal, an invitation to tender, or if you generally work with a customer on a seasonal basis or a project basis, and they pretty much have an idea of the types of things that they're looking for from a supplier, then it's worth asking them exactly what it is that they have as a list of criteria that they are using to evaluate you against whether to do it or not to do it, or whether to do it with you versus some of your competitors who may also be talking to them at the same time. Understanding the formal list of decision criteria is absolutely critical if later in the sale you're going to hit the right notes. It's difficult to play a tune unless you know which notes to play. The customer is the composer. They are the ones who decide what it is that they're looking for and which criteria are most important. What they typically do, given the list of some things being more important than others, is when they're evaluating you against other potential suppliers, they will have a weighted list. Let's say they have 10 criteria. 3 of these are the most important. In order to win the sale, you must show that you are compliant with those top 3 criteria and do a better job than the other suppliers that they could be selecting from. In order for you to do that, you can't guess what it is. You must ask what those decision criteria are and which stakeholders each of these criteria are important to, but also which criteria are most important, that if they couldn't have anything else, which is the one thing that they would definitely have to see in place. Then you know what emphasis you should place in subsequent meetings with the customer, and what emphasis should be in your proposal document to them. When journalists write a newspaper article, the very first paragraph has the most important information in it so that the reader can digest it quickly, and then if they like what they read in that first paragraph, they read the rest of the detail for the rest of that news article. It's exactly the same in a proposal. The lead paragraph, what you choose to focus your emphasis on, must be the most important aspects of what the customer is looking for. Otherwise, the value of it, the zing of it, the excitement of it tends to just vanish, and they're reading yet another boilerplate presentation from a supplier. Your ability to create great presentations and great proposals is based on how well you understand what they need and which of the criteria that they're looking at is most important to them. Some of these criteria might be product related. It might be about the features and the functionality of what it is that you actually do as a business, or what your products do in terms of their capabilities. But the decision criteria are not always related to product-based criteria. Sometimes it's about your company's level of service, how responsive you are to customers, how client-centric you are deemed to be. They might be looking at other factors, such as your industry knowledge. They might be wanting to see specific customer references in certain areas of capability or industry or geography. Unless you know what these things are, you don't really know what it is you should be presenting. And the mistake a lot of salespeople make is they just present and present and present, hoping they'll say something that the customer will say, oh, wait a second, let's dig into that a little bit more. That's interesting to me. That's kind of the show up and throw up technique. As a professional salesperson, you don't show up and throw up. You present and propose with laser precision. The way to do that is to understand how are you going to evaluate us, on what criteria, and which of these criteria are most important to you, and why. Take this information from the customer and convert it into a winning proposal that will help you win more.